everyone! My name's King, and welcome back to, Cities. I think that's what this is called, right? As you may know, I'm kinda, like, changing how, I do videos for this series, as well as, Tech in Space, which is brand new. Check it out if you haven't. I did it a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. And for this video, mainly because building the city is actually being really slow, or at least it feels very slow and grindy for me, because this was like 2 episodes, that was a whole bunch, and took forever just to build this. And I have even more, and if I can bring the map up right now, as you can see, there's an insane amount of blocks that have to be done, which is like this amount of area, which means the thing I took 2 episodes to build, I have to do it again, and then do that millions of times. So I'm going to tweak the layout that I have to do, and also I want to make it quicker to build buildings. So in this episode, we are not going to do this that I laid out. I'll do that later in another episode. I'm probably going to do like a small plaza park thing here, maybe, and I'm going to work in this area and build some kinda typical standard buildings that we could just copy and paste and throw everywhere, kinda like a, I'm not sure what to call it, but just like a in the middle kind of building, where it's like not that tall but not that short, some of them bigger, some of them shorter, kind of this level, maybe a bit shorter than these, and that way I could just take them and they'll be in the same style as all the other buildings, and I just throw them wherever I feel like it, to just kind of make it quicker to build a cityscape without having to do any unique buildings, I guess. And of course we'll still do unique buildings and stuff, but I just kind of want to fill out the skyline a little bit quicker. That way I can focus more on the shape of the city and stuff, and the actual road layouts and things. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing here. And to show what I've been planning, I was actually planning on doubling this kind of thing, so I have some more layouts for buildings over here, which will be like a small alley, which is why these buildings have nothing to going for them in terms of windows and stuff. So I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing over here for these kind of template buildings, where there will be windows only on the front, not on the sides or back, assuming they'd be like stacked next to each other like these. And once we get to like taller, or a taller section like high rises, we'll have to redo a template for that. This area is sort of smaller scale. This is kind of like the residential or like medium income area. And there'll be like bigger actual like skyscrapers with glass all the way around, super fancy and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm talking way too much. I'll get like a basic layout for the buildings and maybe like a palette, and then we'll be right back, I guess, for that. Cue a fancy cut or something. Okay, and now I have done all of the layouts for these buildings. I'm not entirely sure if every single copy of the building will be the same materials, but I think this is good enough. I have one that has the whole brick idea. Basically what I'm doing with these is I'm taking motifs of the buildings I've already done, and like the build styles of them, and just making it so it's sort of like the palette for the place. So I have a brick one, sandstony one, a couple darker ones, and then one that has like white at the bottom, yellow at the top. For that one, I'm going to use the wood and quartz kind of thing that I have going on here. I'm going to use that way that building blends in a bit better, because it was before, like these buildings were before I kind of got the style down packed, and so they do kind of stand out and like feel a little out of place, especially this one. This one is like all squat and stuff, and it looks weird compared to the design. So I'm just going to use the materials of that one, slightly different, but still the same quartz and wood stuff. And I'm going to just take that building, throw it all over the place, and that one will probably fit in a bit better. So yeah, I have a sandstony one. I mean, it's endstone, so it's a bit different texture. It's kind of creamy, but it's the same idea. I have this one, which the bottom layer will be the quartz, and then on top of that would be the wood. I have one that is just like a dark gray. I'm using acacia because it's dark, but also looks cool, and it's wood. So there's that, and then these two buildings do not have like pillars all the way. It would just have it in the middle. And I would do something to showcase like a separation in layers, like this building or these buildings. And so I have a grayish one here with an andesite stone brick thingy in the corners, and I'll have interesting divider. And then I have the brick one I already showed, which is using red sandstone, smooth red sandstone, and granite, I think, for the corners. It looks interesting. So yeah, that's the layouts, and I think because I do have trouble on deciding if I'm going to have interiors or if I'm going to have no interiors. I keep flip-flopping between the two because it's kind of hard to do interiors and have them accurate and working. So I think I'm going to try to pull off a Spider-Man PS4. If you've ever played that game, if you land on a skyscraper, you can actually look into the window and see something there, but you can't enter the building, so it's more of like a facade, I guess. And since windows are only going to be on the front of these buildings, I think it'll turn out okay. I'm not sure how that'll work, but we'll see. And I guess for more important buildings, there'll be a way in. Like this building has a way in. Most of the buildings on this spawn street, I'm going to go back into and do an interior. Like I think I need to redo the interiors for these buildings, or these two. This one doesn't have an interior, and it's broken because of the stairs. This one has no interior. That has no interior. That one has no interior. So I'll have to redo the interiors for some of those. But I think for a majority of the streets that aren't very significant, I'm just going to do Spider-Man PS4 style, just like put a wall like here, maybe, like along here, like just the front half of the building, have an interior for that, but no way in the buildings. And I think that'll save on resources and time, and it'll make my life easier. That said, if you don't know how I build my skyscrapers, the way I do it is I have a first floor, which is unique, and then I build a secondary floor, which is different from the first floor, and then I take the secondary floor and copy it all the way up. So as you can see, on the first floor of this building, it has a nice wooden floor and these things, and it goes here, and there's like, actually I think on this building I just copied the first floor, to be honest. But like there's red couches and stuff, etc, etc. And then on secondary floor, it's exactly the same. Okay, that was a bad example. Oh yeah, I think this is around the time where I got lazy on doing the buildings. For instance, this building, here we go, better example. there's a restaurant on the first floor, but then on the second floor, it's not a restaurant, it's apartments, and that copies up, and yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing with these. I'm going to do another very fancy cut, and it's going to be me doing the first floor for all these buildings and probably second floor for all these buildings as well. And I'll explain what I did to pull off like a Spider-Man PS4 effect if I do that. If not, then it'll just be like an exploration of what the first floor and second floor look like. I think a majority of these buildings are just gonna be bog standard apartment buildings, nothing special. So like a lobby on the first floor and then a bunch of rooms on the second floor. And then after that, I'll try to judge how high these buildings should be. And I'll get a rough explainer of what I am going to do for that. Do that, and then I'll put these markers, which is kind of in different colors. And I'm going to put one at the bottom corner, one at the top corner, so I can just go bop, bop, copy, paste, throw it around, etc. And yeah, we'll be done. Let me know if this is an interesting way to do like editing stuff. I saw someone else do it, but not for Minecraft stuff, so I'm not sure if it translates well. But yeah, if it's good, comment down below telling me it's good, subscribe, etc. We'll be right back once we do this.
Listen to the ending.
Hey, yo.
And there we go. So I got the first and second floors of all these buildings done. I also added a little bit of texture work on the sides and the back. Just sort of like a scaffolding thing. Kind of pulling off that vibe, but not really. Because, you know, I want it to be fairly compact and only have like one block of room all the way around so I can squish the buildings together. So just like a little scaffolding. And also I have some pipe work. I don't know, maybe it's like fluid or electricity or something. And I did it for every single building. A few variations here and there, like this one has this kind of like diagonal scaffolding thing. I think it'll be pretty interesting. And this one I have the wires on this side. And I have two scaffolding. This one I have scaffolding and wires, two of them. And I actually, because on these buildings, it's like 6 blocks tall, so there's like a middle thing on these, so I can actually have a pattern that repeats. So that's what I did with this wire here. From every single building, it would like go back and forth and back and forth, and it'll look pretty cool. Same thing on here. This goes back and forth, that goes back and forth, etc. And some more scaffolding. And as you can see, I did actually manage to do a sort of Spider-Man PS4 style thing where it's like, oh look, there's a room, but there's no actual way in, kind of thing. And same with this building. This one's a bit bigger in depth. This one is kind of flat. A lot of these end up just being like right next to the window just to block it out. But yeah, it's like a slight bit of depth, and it looks like there's something there, but not really. And I think it's pretty good. So of course, next up, gotta duplicate all of the buildings, kind of bring them all up a little bit. So like from here to there. Just gotta bring it up a couple times so that that's 2 floors. Let's say this one should have one more floor than that. Just enough for it to be kind of tall, rectangular. And it's like easy to manage, I guess. Those are kind of off-center now that I think about it, but it's fine. It doesn't look too bad. Yep, I like it. And then I'll cap it off later. Off camera, I mean. From there to there. That way I get all the scaffolding stuff as well. Thinking this one actually should be a bit taller. Yeah, that's alright. Because it has kind of fat base to it, so. Which was not intentional, like, at all. What'd I do? Okay. It's gonna be this block to that block, I do believe. Yeah. And honestly, this one could go very tall, actually. Tallest one, yeah. I think that'll do. And then these are a bit different because it has this wall divider here. It's not as complex to deal with. Stack it, let's say 5. And as you can see, all of them are more or less the same height. Yeah, that'll be a good height for that one. And then this guy. Is probably going to be shorter. Because it's like skinnier. So yeah, that's good height for all the buildings. Honestly, that one could probably go up a little higher, but that's the general idea. And of course, I could decorate for individual buildings. Once I copy and paste them, I can decorate, like put like a canopy or something, or open up one of the windows, or put like hang plants and change the textures maybe. But for now, that's good. As you can see, this kind of got screwed up a little bit, which is my mistake. I could probably fix that by just sort of alternating each one, now that I think about it. Like that. Move that back over. Move that over. Put that back. Move that over. Put that back. And then move that. Like so. There we go. That one's fixed. And then that's fine. Those are okay. It looks a bit weird, but it's okay. This needs fixing. I need to put a block here. It's a bit short for like a wiggle, but it's okay. I do believe all the others are fine in terms of wiggling and stuff. Yeah. Everything else looks decent. And then of course I just need to like put a little cap on it on the buildings, and then put carpet, and then like smokes and stuff like these buildings, and it should be good. So some of them without smokes, some of them with smoke, because I like how that looks, but I don't want it every single building to have that. So I shall do that, and it shall be done. So I gotta get rid of that. Some of these buildings I need to just get rid of like last minute stuff, and they'll all be pretty good. So I'm going to do one final cut, and then I'll showcase or I'll show off what the final buildings look like. It's not gonna be that different from how these already look. In all honesty, this is pretty much the finished buildings. I just need to put a top on them. And maybe like a water tower on that one or something, I don't know. But yeah. So that's that. Honestly, this building's a bit skinny, but whatever. That's that, and one final cut. And there we go. The buildings are completed. We can copy and paste them all over the place now. This one has the water tower. I literally just copied it from that building and placed it over here. The idea with water towers is there's one on every like block or group of area, and all the buildings share that water or something. That way, you know, you store it up there and it'll come down. Or there's an interesting video on it. You can look it up if you feel like it. With shaders, it looks really cool. Like, it looks like all the buildings have some form of interior to them, which I like. I like that. That's what I wanted the city to look like. I wanted to be able to look into the windows and see something. So I'm happy. So yeah, this one has the windmill or the water tower, and I did classic ventilation stuff and connected everything similar to those two buildings, the one with the smoke on them. Same thing here, a little bit more simple because there's less room. I just threw 3 vents, some kind, I don't know, control thingy that connects the vents and whatever that is, and put a little bit of smoke. Not a lot, just a little, because it's like, I have a feeling this building, if I ever am to use it when copy and pasting, I would just squish it in between other buildings. So a little bit of smoke makes sense, because it's like, it'll be like hidden by the other buildings. This one, honestly, this is a bit weird of a building because it's more squished this way. Like, full brunt of the building is facing the street. So I just did the same thing as the others, just a whole bunch of vents and stuff. I made a lot of them have smoke because this is the tallest building. So like with that building, since it's the tallest, you'll see the smoke kind of at the very tippity top. And then the one next to it, just a very tall version that doesn't have smoke, same thing, nothing special. And then this one, being the smallest building, or second smallest building, it has the vents and stuff, but I made sure there's more smoke on this because if you're at ground level and I want to showcase the smoke at ground level, most of the buildings are too tall for you to see any smoke. Like, this is the smallest one. There's no smoke, but like the smoke on that one you don't see, and neither with that one. So I kind of wanted you to be able to see smoke from certain points of view, but most of the time it's just kind of disappears. But like if you're on ground level here, that building's small enough so you can see the smoke on top, while some of the taller ones, it's kind of harder. So that's kind of the general idea. And of course there's all of the other stuff, like all of the scaffolding and things all work and it looks nice. So if I have other buildings next to it, even without adding extra decoration on the inside, it will give off that kind of back alley vibe, which I'm happy about. And I just added a little colorful markers on the corners so I can copy and paste the buildings. And I'll use these and probably copy them, paste them over here, alternate them a little bit, and change the building structures based on these. And I'll use like those as the palette for a bunch more of this. So next time we showcase this, maybe there'll be more streets that have these buildings kind of thrown everywhere. And it's just going to help me speed up the process a little bit and let us focus more on unique buildings like that one or the temple and other stuff, and decorating streets and things. But anyway, so yeah, that's those buildings, and they're going to be kind of filler buildings from now on. And I like them. They look nice, and it has the Spider-Man PS4 style window things where you like come up close to it, and it looks like there's a thing there, but there isn't. Especially this one. This one's actually really good at that because it's like a legit room. And like it looks like there's more to it, but there isn't. But anyway, my name is King. This has been Cities. Like and subscribe, etc., etc. And yeah, that's the video. Bye. I'm just gonna look here at my handiwork, and other stuff will show up. And yeah. So yeah, that's just the end of the video now. And I'm trying out a new style for the end of the video. Hopefully it's good.